I want to talk about conflict management today and to share some very powerful steps that I went through myself in a conflict situation over the summer. And the conflict is with my father and the discussion that he wanted to have with my sister and I about my uncle. And it's one of those things that keep on repeating every single time I see him. And especially since, my uncle's like a second father to me, and I feel like I'm between the two. And the issue was him wanting me to take sides. And so I knew this conversation was going to happen. And I spent some time just walking along the beach, listening to myself, shoring up, excuse the pun, shoring up that energy that I needed, and just taking some advice from within. And the first thing that came up for me is let go of being right. And then the second thing was, okay, what am I feeling? Really sort of step into what I'm feeling. I'm feeling angry, I'm feeling resentful, I'm feeling stressed, just in anticipation of this conversation. So the next question I asked myself, what is my underlying need? And my underlying need was to feel heard and to feel respected, as if, my love for my uncle was also counting, and that my need to not go there and destroy my relationship with him was being appreciated. So I always have this in with my father of not feeling heard, loved, or appreciated. And then my next question was, what is his underlying need? And the more I thought about his underlying need, I recognized that his was to feel heard, loved, and appreciated. We had the same need, but we were going at it like this. So the next step that I gave myself was, what advice can I give myself around this need? And what came up for me really loudly and clearly is that I can't get validation from him. It's not a case that he's incapable of giving it to me, but I'm giving away my power by wanting to be heard, felt, and appreciated by anyone external. And that what I needed to do was to go within and to shore myself up, to give myself that love, to give myself that appreciation and that protection. And so I went to my inner child and I looked at her and I comforted her, and I basically said, I've got your back. I could see her, wanting that love from her father and feeling very frustrated and lost, and not enough, always yearning for that affection. And I just poured that compassion and that love into her. And then the next thing I did was I saw my dad's inner child, and I actually saw him, like in the photos that I've seen of him on a beach too. And, I saw all of the generosity and the kindness, how he was the oldest son and he always had to be strong for everyone. And I just saw all these wonderful qualities, and I just poured out a load of compassion to him. And then I felt ready. And then when the conversation happened, as it did, it just escalated really, really quickly. And there was anger and there was shouting, and it was really like a storm. And throughout it all, I just felt so centered in my compassion for both my dad and my stepmother, that whatever they said to me, whatever they threw at me, whether in anger or spite, it just didn't touch the sides. I just sat there and I was able to have an entirely different quality of listening. And, I don't think we resolved the fact that I'm not going to take sides because I'm sitting in my love of both people. But I certainly felt like what I went through transformed how I showed up. And since then, I've just felt much lighter in my back. I felt much more grounded in who I am, because I wasn't giving my power away. I stood there in my heart, and I just went through this conflict. So I hope this helps you, just to go through those steps again. What am I feeling? What is my underlying need? What is their underlying need? How can we have a handshake with those needs? Or what advice can I give myself about how I can be responsible for my own needs? And then it's really visualizing the inner child, the inner children of both yourself and the other person. And that will provide the foundation and the stability for you to show up and not get triggered and not add more anger to the conflict, which will then come back around again. I hope it helps.